Vanessa here, and this is Half Curves Will Sew. Welcome to my channel. I'd like to start out today by thanking all of those of you who have subscribed to my channel. We're almost at 100 subscribers in a little under 2 months, and so I just really wanted to say a really big thank you for those of you who have joined, and I hope that you're enjoying the videos and that you continue to enjoy the ones I'm coming up with. So today's video is the start of a new series I'm doing. I will be doing several of these videos throughout the year, and I hope you really enjoy them. They're basically fit videos, but it's not just about learning how to do a full bust adjustment or a bicep adjustment or wide hip adjustments or grading patterns. We're going to do all sorts of different things. The first video, or the first pattern we're going to work with, is this Knit Essentials by Alison Glass. I'll put a bigger picture up here for you to see it. So this pattern I found at a local store called Pacific Fabrics. It's a smaller chain in the Pacific Northwest. And what I liked about this pattern was it says on the front of the package, building a great fitting wardrobe one piece at a time. And that is the whole reason I decided to create my own capsule wardrobe. I really wanted to get a very well-fitting wardrobe that I enjoyed wearing every day, mixing and matching things, and really having clothes that fit, I think, is the biggest thing. Not only my body, but my personality and my lifestyle. So this pattern is one master pattern, which is the t-shirt dress. There are 6 variations on that, and they have some couture embellishments as well that you can add. We'll do a flip through the pattern in just a little bit. In this series, or this particular set of videos, there's going to be 4 of them. Today is just the introduction. We're going to look through the pattern, go through the supplies that we're going to need to move forward, and then we'll do the next video. Will be taking our measurements and tracing out our pattern and getting our pattern pieces altered if need be, based off of our measurements of the pattern, based off of our body. And then we're going to make the fit garment. And I realize I don't have the fabric with me, but I'll show you that. So make the fit garment, and then after we get the garment all fitted, the 4th video in the series will be making some of the variations on the pattern. So like I said, the pattern is really unique. We'll go through a little flip through in that. Things that you're going to need is a measurement chart. The pattern has one in there, but in case you decide that you don't want this pattern and you want to use a different t-shirt pattern, because honestly the principles that we'll talk about could be translated to any t-shirt garment, or t-shirt dress garment I should say. And this measurement chart that I have here, I have a printable available for you on my website. I'll link to it down below. Or you can just use the one in the book, or a scrap piece of paper will work too. A pencil and a tape measure. I like this one because it's got inches on both sides, but it also has centimeters for those of you who are on the metric system instead of the imperial system. And then you'll need a couple of rulers. I use this 3x18 inch quilting ruler. I like it because it's see-through, but I also have 1/16 of an inch. So if I really need to get really small, I can do that. And then I also have the style ruler that has a hip curve and an arm curve. It also has a straight edge, so this is pretty useful multi-purpose tool. And then you'll need some tape. I use washi tape, but you could use masking tape or scotch tape or cello tape. I like the washi tape because it's transparent, and it also has a low tack, so if I put it in the wrong place I can always peel it back up. And you'll need pattern paper. When we work through this video, what we'll do, or through this pattern I should say, what we'll do is trace off the original pattern, so the original pattern will stay intact. And for that we will need drafting paper. I have 2 kinds with me to show you today. This first one is pretty thin. It's similar to traditional pattern paper that you'll find with Simplicities and Recalls. I find that this is really nice when I just have a quick little pattern I need that doesn't really need any adjustments, because it is kind of narrow, and it is really flimsy and lightweight, so it doesn't really hold up to alterations. I also have this wider format paper. It's 45 inches long. I don't know if I can get it all in the camera, but it's got the consistency of butcher paper, maybe a little thinner, but it is semi-transparent, so when I put it down over the pattern I can see through it to trace. But it is strong enough to hold up, sorry I shouldn't do that, it's strong enough to hold up to pattern, to manipulation when we're doing the alterations. You'll also need some fabric. Since this is a knit garment, I wanted to have kind of a drapey t-shirt was the look I'm going for. So I got this, it's just a cotton blend. It's a really lightweight cotton jersey, lots of stretch. And when you're doing your muslin, you want to do your muslin in the type of fabric or similar fabric to what your end garment was going to be. So I want to make a drapey tee, so I'm going to start with a drapey fabric. If I was going to make heavyweight, maybe a winter weight jersey shirt, I would use a thicker jersey. I wanted to keep them consistent. That makes sense. I'm going to change the angle of the camera and we're going to do a flip through of the pattern. Okay, so we have the Knit Essentials by Alison Glass. I'm going to focus in a little bit. I don't know if you can read that. So the Knit Essentials by Alison Glass Sew, and it is building a great fitting wardrobe one piece at a time. So that is the dress. It is built off of an hourglass figure, or body shape I should say, as opposed to a pear shape that I find a lot of patterns, modern patterns are kind of built on nowadays. So this is just the introduction. This is the t-shirt. It's got one of the neckline variations, looks like an unfinished hem and an applique in a short sleeve version. So over here we have 4 different ones. We have the long sleeve version with the v-neck, and it's got some embellishments along the neckline there. It seems to be a skirt, a little bit of a high-low hem with some hand embroidery on it. Here I believe is that t-shirt again, just 2 different scenes of different t-shirts. Over here we have a skirt and a top. So the booklet is 24 pages long, and this kind of just gives a background of why she has this, why she developed this pattern. There's no sizes in this pattern. They're all size A through K, I believe, and it's all based on body measurements, not traditional ready-to-wear sizes like 22, 18, size 8. So we have, this is another skirt with a fluted kind of ruffle edge. This is one of the other variations with a camisole, but this one is a camisole with a woven bottom, so it's a knit at the top portion and then that's a woven, and that's part of the pattern. And this looks like it's a camisole and a skirt. Yeah, it's this knit tank top and a knee-length skirt. And this one here, it looks like the t-shirt's a bit drapier with a little bit wider scoop neckline, 3/4 length sleeves, and then the skirt, and I think there's some ruffles on the skirt. I don't know if we can get in a little bit more, if you can see the ruffles there. Oh, that wasn't too fast. And this is another ruffle detail on the skirt. Over here you can see the skirt full length, and it's that first purple one with the unfinished edge. And this is a longer knit dress with long or 1/4 length sleeves, camisole, and then the knit camisole, and then just getting a little bit more about getting started about fitting garments. She goes into talking about how patterns are drafted for an average size person. So they take a pattern, say size 10 is their fit model, and then it's graded up from there. But they take averages, so it's not necessarily gonna fit every single person. So this talks about choosing the right size, tracing your pattern, measurements, and this is just some techniques for sewing knits. We'll go over this part when we sew the garment up. And this is the size chart. So you choose the pattern based off your high bust. So whatever your high bust is the size you choose. Mine is K, or I, I'm sorry, so 46. And because we're doing a dress, I'm actually going to be grading out the hip because my hips are wider than my high bust. So this talks about how to make the muslin and adjusting the muslin, and we'll go through all that stuff. And this is the basic knit dress. So this is actually the instructions for sewing the garments together. So and it tells you how many, like which one you're going to make, how wide your fabric is, and how much fabric you're going to need, and how wide to cut your neckband. This one here is there's the basic t-shirt pattern, basic knit dress, or knit skirt I should say, and then the maxi skirt. And then you get into the, they call it a tank top, but I call it camisole. And then the cotton and knit and cotton tank tunic. And then it gets into the embellishments. So the appliques and the hand embroidery. And then this is the ruffles and the neck binding. So it's pretty cool. And then the envelope came with this lovely little sticker. Little bee there on a star. I really like the packaging. It's really quite eye-catching. One thing that I found a little disconcerting was there's no sizes on the outside of the package, but it does go up to, where was that? Sorry, it's never where I think it's going to be in the book. It does go up to a high bust of a 50. So I would say you're safe with grading up an extra 2 size. So if your high bust is 52, grading out a hip is really simple. So when I choose a pattern, I never really worry about if it's going to fit over my hips, because that adjustment's a very simple one. A bust adjustment and more importantly shoulder adjustments are a little harder, so you really do want to get as close as you can to the size of the high bust. So my high bust is 45.5, so I just go up to 46, and that usually works. It does mean I have to do, for the most part, a full bust adjustment, because my full bust is much greater. My full bust is 50, but if I chose the 50, the shoulders and the neck and the armhole would not fit. So it's really important that we go off our high bust when choosing a pattern for a dress or a top. And then you go with your hip measurement for pants or skirt. With that said, I'm going to change the camera angle again, and we're going to wrap this up. Okay, I hope you liked that little flip through. That's about it for this part of the series. In the next video, we're going to work on our measurements and tracing out and cutting out our pattern and starting in on our alterations on the flat pattern. You can follow along if you have this particular pattern, or any basic knit t-shirt pattern will work, or t-shirt dress pattern should work. I will link to this one in the description below. I did find this at Pacific Fabrics, but I know you can get a PDF off of her website. I am not in any sort of affiliation with Alison Glass. I just stumbled upon this particular pattern. I thought it was great. You'll need some fabric. I got, I think, like 4 yards, because I wanted to make a couple of different things. So I have quite a bit here. I bought 3 or 4 yards. You won't need that much. Let me see. Base shirt, t-shirt, dress. You need, if you get 68-inch wide, the Alison Glass has a knit fabric that she sells, and hers are 68-inch wide. Size K, which is the largest size, need 2. J needs 1 3/4 yard. E through I needs 1.5 yards. And A through D needs 1 1/4 yard. And then you'll need some basic inches for like 25, at the longest 25 inches long for the neckband. And then if you have standard jersey, which is 54 inches wide, for A through C you need 1.5 yards. For D through I, 2 yards. J, 2 1/4 yards, and K, 2.5 yards. So depending on the width of your fabric at the very most 2.5 yards, and you should be able to make the dress. Alright, so like I said, if you want to follow along, I'll have the next video up in a few days. Make sure you have all your supplies ready. And then we'll follow up with, after that, we'll do the fit garment. So we'll cut out our fabric and sew up the garment and do any adjustments we need to the garment itself. And then if we do need to do that, we'll transfer them back to the pattern so that the pattern can be used as a sloper that we can then use to make all of our variations. And in the final video, we'll make a couple of the variations, at least one, probably two, I will say, probably two of the variations on the pattern. Okay, until next time, again, thank you very much for those of you who have subscribed, and if you haven't, please push that red button down below, and don't forget to sign up for notifications. And I will see you next time, and until then, happy sewing.